We've all been there, haven't we? When you're so passionate about what you're working on, and we can be our own worst critic. We really beat ourselves up, right? Because we love what we do. So I was working for a council, and I had 18 different committees, and one of them was arts and culture. How much can I contribute to arts and culture and supporting all the arts organisations in the area, especially when I've got a $2,000 budget? You just want to do more, and you just pour all your heart into it. And at the same time, you're getting challenges on both sides. You've got the arts organisations saying, why isn't council doing more? And then you've got council saying, hang on, you've got all these other priorities as well. So I was having a very difficult time one day, and I was trying to work through this challenge, and a friend thought they would give me a motivational talk, inspire me. So they told me about something that had happened when they were at school, and I will share that story with you. It was a school athletics meet where all the schools across Victoria come together and compete against each other, all over Victoria at Olympic Park. Thousands of young people filled the stadiums, and a hurdle race, was about to begin, and could see the excitement of the athletes. And then they burst from the blocks, full of inspiration and confidence, and they are all set on the goal at the end there, that they are going to make it to that finish line, as we all do in our careers. You know, when we're starting out at the blocks, you know, you think, oh, you know, I'm going to make a big difference. But then this hurdler stepped out. She was right up out there, right up at the front, and then just that moment's distraction, clipped a hurdle, face planted onto the track. And we've, you know, you experienced that in our careers, you know, when this particular council said to me, we think your ideas are too big for us. We're just a small council and we can't do all the things that you want. And I realised, yeah, okay, well, maybe there's not a place for me here. I've got bigger dreams. And so I had to take a fall. So I was very fortunate to then move to another council where I got to be arts and culture the whole time. And I was so excited. Back in the race, as was the hurdler. She got back up. She had such a head start that she could still make it. She was still ahead of the field. So she got back into the race. But as we go through our careers, you know, you can get a little bit wounded on the way. And the hurdler was a little bit wounded after the fall and a little bit shaky and took another fall. Another faceplant into the track in front of thousands of people. And while you're there, broken on the ground, you really wonder, is it worth getting back up? You ask yourself that question. What will happen next? You know, you want to be the best, or at least your best. And you feel like you've really let yourself down. It's like when I was with that second council, I was like, wow, okay, I can do so much more now. Okay, I'm going to go to the tourism manager because, you know, all these arts organisations, they're really wanting to promote themselves to all the visitors, and I'm going to get them into the tourism bureau. So I go to the tourism manager and I said, hey, cultural tourism, you know, this is our common ground, let's collaborate. What's cultural tourism? So I excitedly shared all of the benefits of cultural tourism and how we can inspire people to come and experience the lifestyle of the place. And the response was, no, people come here to see the dolphins. So there were still barriers, being a lone voice. And you find that with a lot of councils, you know, you've got people who are really passionate about arts and culture, but they've got a lot of internal challenges to really, you know, share that love. So I then took a fall. And you think again, do I get up? And then I had this fantastic opportunity to move to Sydney. Dream job. I was going to have this fantastic opportunity to work across the state, supporting all of the councils in their work in arts and culture, and also promote the roles of councils in arts and culture, and then get all these collaborations going. Make a difference, you know? Yeah. So the hurdler got back in the race too. You know, the rest of the field, they were passing her at that point, but she's like, I could still make it. I could. So she got back in that race. But really broken at this point, hobbling along. The race was over. The other hurdlers had finished, and she was the only one left on the track. So took another fall and stayed down for a little while this time. So when I was at this dream job and I go in there with this big vision, and then I find out you've got no budget. So I'm going to make a big difference. And I have the benefit of having worked in councils where you don't have much budget. You know to collaborate and work laterally. So I was able to do a lot with nothing. Partnerships, collaborations, and capacity building, yes. So that worked really well for a time. But really, you can only do so much, because then again, you've got everyone expecting, hey, you've got this big important role. Surely you're going to be able to do so much more. And it was the same challenge of not living up to those expectations, because you have those expectations of yourself and you feel like you're letting people down. So then I decided to take a fall. And I had been sitting on an idea for 2 years for my business, and I'd registered the business name and everything. And the week I left, I got the email saying, oh, it's time to renew your web domain. And that meant it was the exact 2-year anniversary since I'd registered that business name. And so I did it. I went out and I set up the business, Strategic Artistry. And I had this massive idea, multi-million-dollar idea, that was also going to be supporting arts and culture in a really way that I could do so much. And then the next week I saw all these ads on Facebook for this exact idea. Yes. I'd sat on it for too long. But we've got to be agile, right? Think laterally and reposition. So the hurdler, they got up, they staggered, climbed over the last 2 hurdles. They knew they were not going to win. They knew they'd not done their best. But they were going to finish that race. And they got to the finish line so embarrassed, so broken, wanting to have done more. And the entire stadium gave a standing ovation. Thousands of people cheering at this terrible, terrible failure. I stared at my friend and said, why would you tell me that story? That's terrible. And he's like, well, to inspire you, She got to the end. She did it. I said, how could you throw back in my face the most embarrassing moment of my life? He's like, what? And then I realised he didn't know. I was the hurdler. I'd had my own the biggest failure of my life told back to me as though it was some kind of inspiration. All that time I had thought that the cheering was condescending. And then I realised, oh, they actually meant it. And at the end of the race, my coach said to me, what happened? Why didn't you just stop? Look, you're covered in wounds. You're bleeding everywhere. I said, well, you told me that no matter what happens, to just keep going.